Hi, thanks for checking out this video, and Baruch haba Bahashem Yahweh. I'm gonna talk about, this is a continuation on this series of, is Donald Trump the sixth king of Daniel and Revelation, that is the pre-runner to the Antichrist, which is the eighth king. We know that the seventh king is only lasts for a short while after the sixth king is broken, stumbles, and isn't seen again. And we'll read all this in Daniel. So this video is going to focus on the commander that puts an end to the outrages of the sixth king. So, and I want to show that there could be a possible connection between this commander who puts an end to the sixth king, could be the Antichrist himself. And we'll look at that. So we'll look at Daniel 8 and Daniel 11, and we've already gone over some of these scriptures, but we're just gonna dig a little more out of those scriptures. So on this one, I'm gonna start. I'm not gonna read the whole chapter. I've already done that in the previous videos, but I want to pick up on Daniel 11, and I'll just pick up on at 11:15, and this is talking about the era of the sixth king. Then the king of the north will come, set up siege works, and capture fortified city. The forces of the south will be insufficient defense. Even his elite troops will not be strong enough to resist. The invader will do as he pleases. Speaking of the king of the north will be the invader, and we know that that's the goat from the west. The invader will do as he pleases. No one will be able to withstand him. And that part of the vision, that could have been Libya, it could be Syria, it could be one of these Middle East countries, that this city was in sufficient defense. Because now we get to the part, so he will establish himself in the land of glory. And that happened when Trump established the embassy in Israel. That could be a fulfillment of this part. He will establish himself in the land of glory, and he will have power to destroy it. He will determinedly advance with the full force of his kingdom when he attacks this king of the north. He will make an agreement with the king of the south. So we're leading up to this portion. There's a lot of things happening around this peace deal with the UAE, and a lot of other countries are signing on with this. But ultimately, this agreement will connect with this king of the south, the Ram of Persia, with the prominent horn. The ram has two horns, and one's more prominent than the other. The smaller horn gets broken, and then the goat is still at war with the ram. And this is during the sixth king. There's the prominent horn of the ram. And so in this agreement, he will make an agreement with the king of the south and give him a daughter in marriage. So this piece of the puzzle has to contain the daughter in marriage. His object will be to destroy him, but the agreement will not last or work out in his favor. So this agreement is not going to work out in the favor of the king of the north. And I don't think that this is, I think the daughter of marriage will have to be to the king of the south, but Trump's daughter is married to Kirshner, who brokered this deal. So there's a hint of sort of this playing out, but it's not a fulfillment. I don't think at this point. His object will be to destroy him, but the agreement will not last or work out in his favor. So they're setting up this agreement, and it's not going to work out in the favor of the king of the north. And so after this agreement, next he will put his attention on the coastland and the islands and capture many. So this could be focused on the South China Sea. This could be the focused attention on our own coastland. I'm saying this if Trump is the sixth king, or if we are part of this vision and prophecy, that this would be how it would play out, or something close to it. There's also other islands that and coastlands that have the military attention placed on them, the shipping routes, but also there's a lot of natural disasters that are happening, the fires in the west coast, the hurricanes on the east coast. This is what this could be, his attention, and needs to be focused on these things. And here's the part that needs to be we're focusing on. It says, but an army commander will put a stop to his outrages and cause his outrages to come back on him. So this king is doing a lot of outrageous things. He's a willful king that acts according to his own will. It's not the Antichrist. The Antichrist is also a willful man and a man of intrigue. But this one is a willful king. And so this army commander puts a stop to a lot of these outrages that this king is doing. And this is displayed, or this could be taken that, Trump is, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. And it's really disgusting that, um, he'll break this treaty with Iran, the Iran nuke deal. He'll break that treaty and then want to go back and use the sanctions from that treaty to penalize, when he's the one that walked out of the deal. And then so there's that outrage that he wants to accuse all these nations of sanctions towards, and get them to go along with it, and that's outrageous. Then you have Pompeo talking about the International Criminal Court, that that they can use the court to penalize and use that as leverage to sanction other countries. But when it comes to the U.S., that they act like they're above investigation, and that's outrageous. And we'll accuse all these other countries of all these humanitarian and war crimes and all this, all these human rights violations, but we in our own country are guilty of those very things, and that's outrageous. And then you have a guy that, no matter what side of the fence you are on, he's instigating his side to be violent. And we could go round and about who said what first and who's escalating what, but the fact is it's getting outrageous. And he's using the military for operations that aren't you know sanctioned by the Constitution. He's making a lot of claims about um, a lot of things that with the pandemic and stuff. these can these are all situations that can be perceived as outrageous. So but anyways, that this army commander will step in and put an end to all this. But an army commander will put a stop to his outrages and cause his outrages to come back on him. After this, he will put his attention to the strongholds of his own land, and he may have to, because this, if Trump is the sixth king, he will have to focus on this country. He'll be forced to, and stop dealing with the rest of the world, because the country will be in such a disarray. And this is the part where the prominent horn at the height of its power is broken. And it says the stronghold of his own land, but he will stumble, fall, and not be seen again. And this is the breaking of that sixth king. This is the breaking of that prominent horn. And it says, and in his place will arise one who will send a tax collector through the glorious kingdom. And this is where I have speculation on if Trump is this guy and if America is this kingdom, because the glorious kingdom is Jerusalem and Israel. So um but we are connected with that country right now. And so I'm waiting to see how this plays out. And it may be speaking of this king's glorious kingdom as well. So that's why you got to read these things with caution and patience. It says, but within a few days he will be broken through, neither in anger nor in battle. And so this is where the prominent horn is broken, and this is the part in between the Antichrist. This is where the nation is broken, and four horns rise out of it, and this country is the country that this is speaking of is uh, scattered to the four winds of heaven. And a lot of people teach that this was in John's time. They teach that this is a fulfillment of Epiphanes, Aquinas, and Alexander the Great. They have all these teachings of this, but I've gone into this in previous videos that doesn't fit in with what the angel said in chapters 8, 9, and 10 and 12 on the time period of this. And also they can't give an explanation for who these kings are. So anyway, I'll get back on track. And so here's this: we see the sixth king who brokers this agreement, and then an army commander steps in and puts an outrage and to this agreement that's not working out in this guy's favor. And then he stumbles and falls. The sixth king stumbles and falls and isn't seen again. And then this seventh king rises for a few days. And then it says, so he's broken not in anger or war. It says, there will rise in his place a despicable man, not entitled to inherit the majesty of the kingdom. So a lot of people are saying that Trump's the Antichrist. They said that about Obama. They said about Clinton. They said it about Bush. They said it about, they keep, every president that comes along. So they're not following that this is a man who is not elected to office. There will rise in his place a despicable man not entitled to inherit the majesty of the kingdom. He will come without warning and gain the kingdom by intrigue, not by election, not by legal means or offices and all that stuff, but he'll infiltrate. Large armies will be broken and swept away before him, as well as the Prince of the Covenant. So this guy, the Prince of the Covenant, is swept away by this guy. That's why I'm saying that this is possibly this commander that puts an end to these outrages. He might be championed as like, yeah, he put a stop to all these outrages that this sixth king was doing, and that intrigue of putting that man under his foot would give him the leverage he needs to, and this is the little horn. So it says large armies will be broken and swept away before him, as well as the Prince of the Covenant. And that Prince of the Covenant, if this UAE agreement is, the building block of this covenant, I mean, that's Jared Kushner. It brokered this deal, and Trump's tied to all that. But this Antichrist character is the one that sweeps away these people. So large armies will be broken and swept away before him, as well as the Prince of the Covenant. See that? Alliances will be made with him, but he will undermine them by deceit. Then, although he will have but a small following, he will emerge and become strong. Without warning, he will assail the most powerful men in each province and do things his predecessors never did, neither recently nor in distant past. He will reward them with plunder, spoil, and wealth, while devising plots against their stronghold, but only for a time. And his time is only 3.5 years. When he's released from the bottomless pit, he has 42 months. Okay? So I just wanted to do this video. I won't go on much longer about this, but this video is mainly to show that, I've been keeping an eye on these commanders. There's also some rumors and talk that they're, that the military isn't sitting well with Trump because of a lot of his comments and a lot of his actions, that he's trying to use the forces that outside the scope of what the Constitution and other codes are, and to maintain his power and a show of force. And so that there's talk that that there's that he won't step down, there, which is another outrageous thing, and building up this scenario that it's the left, and then the left is saying, both sides are at odds with this, that will he be removed and all this kind of stuff. And that may, whether he's elected for a second term or not, we'll have to see. But keep an eye on these commanders and how they're acting towards Trump, and watch all these other things, this daughter in marriage type of thing, and that would be a huge indicator that this is the real deal. And but be watching these commanders, and I think it's worth exploring these military coups that are happening, or possibly happening, or allegedly happening, if those are true or not, because then you can start seeing who the possible Antichrist is. And it these kind of evidences will help determine if Trump is the Antichrist, or not the Antichrist, the sixth king, or who this sixth king is. These are all characters of the sixth king, which lead to those setups. And yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to say on that. Bring that to your attention. And I hope you guys are studying your scriptures. Read the letters to the churches, Revelation 2 and 3. Keep those at the forefront. And also prepare for this Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. And fast and pray in these times. And Baruch haba Hashem Yahweh, which is to say, blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahweh. And that is to signal Yahweh to come, to Yeshua to come, and reign over us, so that we don't have to deal with these kingdoms of men anymore. And just watch, these kingdoms of men are collapsing. And don't put your faith in these kingdoms, in the monetary systems. They're building the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies and all that kind of stuff. And they're trying to build these kingdoms up and preserve these sinking ships. But Yeshua is coming back to establish his kingdom. But first we have to go through these difficult times. We'll have the beginning of sorrows, and we're starting to see signs of that. And then we're going to have to go through the time of sorrows. And then there's the time of great testing, which we're hoping that we can be a part of that Church of Philadelphia, which is kept from the time of trial that's coming on the whole world. And I just want to, hopefully give you guys hope and try to strengthen you guys to get through these times coming ahead. And the way we do that is by really, really taking to heart these scriptures and studying and paying attention to the details and the nuances and the fine print. Because if you don't pay attention to the fine print, like what I'm showing you guys today, the little details, then these other teachers can go out there and just say whatever. And a lot of them do, because people just take their word for it. They don't study. And but anyways, you guys know all this, and I wish you guys well if you get to this part of the video. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to get back to you guys on another video coming soon. And until then, shalom, and we'll see ya.